From the News Channel 8 studios, Let's Talk Live with your hosts, Natasha Barrett and Melanie Hastings.
So do you ever feel like you keep repeating the same patterns or make the same mistakes over and over again?
Well, I feel that way. I don't know how you feel, Natasha, but you're not alone if you do. There are some things that you can do, though, to break that cycle and get back on track. Steve Gaffney is here today to tell us just how to do that. Hi, Stephen. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Help us.
Yes.
I think we all need help
Yeah.
with those repetitive issues.
We need a couch so we can just lay down and you can tell us how it is, right?
Well, I guess we get comfortable in our little ways, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. Have you ever, how about this, when somebody just starts complaining about the relationship at home? You know, about my husband, my wife, over and over and over again. And finally you're like, I can't stand it anymore. You know, and we want them to take action. So the first thing is to really be aware that this is actually a big issue. But we ourselves, when we're in this repetitive cycle, we don't often realize that we're in that repetitive cycle.
It's interesting you brought that up because I think it's a common thing for people at work. People get personal. And at first, when you're talking to your friend or someone that's next to you in the cubicle, you may want to give advice. Is that a mistake right there?
Well, there's nothing wrong with giving advice.
Okay.
But if they keep coming back and asking for the same old advice, at a certain point you need to say, see previous advice.
Listen to me for a change, right?
Well, absolutely, because if you think about it, I don't believe that we are doing somebody a service as a friend if we just hear them complain over and over and over again. What I think good friends really do is say, do you realize that you're complaining about this over and over and over again? I'm your friend, but you may need to take action, which is really the second step. First step is to be aware. Second step is to take action. Do something different.
That can be some hard news to kind of assimilate when somebody, even a good friend, tells you you're not doing things right. Change.
Absolutely. And it's hard to hear that, but at a certain point we need to do that. And so Albert Einstein once said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Very good quote.
But how often have you had somebody do this to you? Oh, I'm going to go on an exercise program. Oh, yeah. Today is going to be the beginning of the rest of my life. And they go on some exercise program or diet, and a month later you ask them, how's it gone?
I got off it, yeah.
Not so much anymore.
Yeah.
And so at a certain point we need to be aware and then take action. And then one key thing that I think really is important is to realize that belief drives actions, actions don't drive beliefs. If you believe something, then you're going to see whatever you believe. So if you believe that nothing is ever going to change, that's all you'll ever see. But if you start to believe that with over 6 billion people who live on this planet, somebody has probably suffered in the exact same issue we have, and there are probably answers out there, the point is to go searching for it and try something different. So if you're doing something and it's not working, you may not know what to do, but stop doing that and do something different. And admit to yourself, if what's really at the heart is you believe things will never change, because the answer is things can change, but first we need to really believe it.
Well, let's get back to the person you talked about that's always talking about the relationship at home and something's bugging them, maybe the husband's not doing this or so-and-so, da-da-da-da. You know that story, right?
Absolutely.
Now, if you've told them and you've given them advice and they haven't said anything, you know, they haven't done anything, maybe it's just, does that person want to be heard?
Well, okay, that's what you're talking about is venting. But again, at a certain point, we need to say, you know, life is short. Not to bring a real somber note here, but a client of mine just passed away. And it just is from cancer. And you all know that I've kind of been a survivor of cancer. And I think what that does is remind us how short life is and take action. So you know what? If you're not happy at home, do something. I'm not saying go cheat on your wife or your husband. I'm saying have a forceful, insistent conversation and say we need to go get help, therapy or something. But if we do not change, then the past will predict the future. And life is short, and it's not only short for us, but it's short for our loved ones. We have to enjoy this life.
So this is more than just the power of positive thinking, right? I mean, it's more like the power of positive action or something, you know, like act, do.
So first is awareness, second is action, and the third step is to build an accountability and support structure. And here is where it gets really revealing if you think about this. That is where when we look at our friends and our support structure, they are not really supporting us to change, they actually are feeding into the same old us. That's where you try to do something different and people box you in and kind of force you back to being the way you've been.
The way they expect you to be?
Exactly.
Okay.
How about people, you say, you know what, I'm going to change, and they go, Natasha's never going to change. You're never going to change.
Yeah, you hear
well,
that.
What kind of support structure is that? And maybe what the action is start to relook at the people that are surround us and actually take different action. Look at the support structure and make some changes. Maybe we need to change our friends. Maybe we do need to change our work atmosphere. But whatever it is, life is short, and we have to look at who's supporting us to change and who's bringing us down.
I think people are
action.
too scared to do that. I think that's the thing. If if I tell my friend that she needs to get help in her relationship or she should do this, maybe I'll lose her as a friend. I think that's where that fear is.
Yeah, and that's where we're scared. But again, good friends really push on people and say, look, I want you to be happy. Do you realize you've been complaining about your husband and your wife for years? Maybe it's time to really take action. Or at work, you seem to be miserable at work. And they'll say, well, the economy is bad. You know what? Yeah, there's some people without a job, but there are a lot of people who do find jobs. So what we could say is to that person is say, look, I want to support you in finding the job that really is your dreams, or at least something different that gives you that fulfillment that you deserve. Again, I know I've said this, but life is short, really short. We have to take action.
All right.
Steve Gaffney, thanks for coming in here.
Point.
Give us some inspiration. All right, up next on the show.
She went on a Caribbean island vacation to escape the daily grind, but had to escape a fire instead. We're going to tell you which star had this close call.
And we'd love to hear from you. Email us, letstalklive@tbd.com.